Leg 2 of the TT Superbike class here from Brands Hatch will be run over 9 laps, and a very pensive Jim Moody, knowing that with a 29-point deficit he has a job and a half to do. With only 20 points available for the win, clearly he can't take the lead in the championship at the end of this race. This man, however, maintaining his unbroken record, now in the top 3 in the last 12 of these races. Phil Borley proving that Brands Hatch is very much his own circuit. Number 6, Matt Llewellyn, carrying a rear-facing camera, incidentally, for us in the back half of his Ducati, living up to his qualifying position with a top 5 finish in leg 1. So Llewellyn may be hoping to get the Ducati ahead of the series leader, Ian Simpson, number 25, with a 5-point margin over his teammate Borley. So the two Nortons reigning supreme here at Brands. Completing the front row, the 22-year-old Mike Rutter from Stourbridge in the Midlands, riding the number 8 Ducati. Michael Rutter as well finished in the top 5. So there were no surprises in leg 1, but the championship now with that 5-point gap, as you can see. Simpson from Borley, Moody with a fair bit of work to do, Andy Stroud, the New Zealander, sitting there. But any one of those top 5 could mathematically still win before the end of the season. 9 laps there in the distance. The TT Superbike class lining up here in the sunshine at Brands Hatch on the full 2.6-mile Grand Prix circuit. Front row reminder: Moody on pole, Phil Borley, Matt Llewellyn, Ian Simpson and Mike Rutter riding number 8 on the second of the 2 Ducatis. The green line, a wheelie in the air for Jim Moody, and that cost him vital seconds, because Mike Rutter, number 8 it is, with a cracking start for the 22-year-old from the inside of the front row to take the lead. Mike Rutter, number 8, on the yellow McCulloch Ducati out there through in front though. Ian Simpson, number 25, hoping to reverse the pasting he had from his teammate in race 1. Ian Simpson leads. Jim Moody it is on the number 2 Yamaha in 3rd place. But a good start for Michael Rutter, riding number 8 in 2nd. Mike Rutter it is in 2nd, number 25, race leader Ian Simpson in the sunshine. Matt Llewellyn, number 6, is in there as well. And the top 6, you can see just how close it is, but already Ian Simpson stretching away. Yeah, and Ian will be very keen to get an advantage over his main rival, I guess, Phil Borley, who had an appalling start. He's way back down in about 8th place at this moment. So Ian Simpson now is on the charge, and he'll be just trying to stretch that advantage. Behind him, number 8, Michael Rutter, who I don't think, and we see him coming through Dingle Dell at this point, and you see number 19 there going very, very wide. That was Andrew Stroud on the Yamaha. There was a very good start for Steve Hislop, who's running now in 5th place on the Honda. The Honda team had a miserable first leg. In fact, they both started on the 2nd row, both Hislop and the number 11, Phil McCallan, and neither of them were able to get in the top 6. So if Hislop can get a result for Honda, that will be a good day's work for him. Norton lead, though, however. Yamaha, Hislop's up there still in 5th. A good start for Hislop. Ian Simpson, 25. Michael Rutter, having one of the best races so far this season. Mike Rutter has been incredibly consistent, only not having finished 2 of the 17 races in the series so far in the 94 season. So Michael Rutter going from strength to strength, and a young man, I suspect, Steve, with a bright future. Yeah, very much so. He switched to the V-twin Ducati this year, and he's number 8 here, the V-twin Ducati. Behind him is number 2, Jim Moody, who's looking for the inside line. He's on the inline 4-cylinder Yamaha, but he couldn't quite do it as they went into Hawthorne Corner. But in the first 3, you see, we have Ian Simpson out in front on the rotary Norton. Behind him, number 8, we're looking at now on the Ducati. That's Michael Rutter, and behind him, number 2, Jim Moody on the inline 4-cylinder Yamaha. Moody again looks for the inside as they come up to Dingle Dell, and he's taken it. Jim Moody's snuck through there. Number 2, Moody into 2nd spot on the Yamaha. Up into 5th place as well has come number 9, David Jeffries. So David Jeffries, who tumbled in leg 1, is up to 5th. He's got past the Honda of Steve Hislop. running now with Ian Simpson, and I guess the specialist knowledge of Steve Parrish will come into play here.
Well, they're coming over the start and finish line here at this point, up into 5th gear, 145 miles an hour, down 1 gear, snick into 3rd gear for Paddock Hill Bend. As you see, it's downhill section here, accelerating now on the power, coming up towards Druids Hill Bend at this point. This is the slowest corner on the circuit, into 2nd gear, using the line here as he drifts left, pulls it back to the right-hand side here. Now they're coming down here through the Graham Hill Bend, along Bottom Bend before they get to Surtees.
25 Norton, and there's the number 30 Norton of Phil Borley. So Phil Borley is out at Westfield, 2nd place in the championship. Phil Borley is out. So that's something of a catastrophe for the Norton team. We are back, however, with Ian Simpson, who will now gallop on to an increased championship lead over his teammate, that's for sure. But it does open the door, Steve, for the Yamaha team again.
Well, it really does, and that really has opened the door for Jim Moody, but more importantly, it's going to extend the lead that Ian Simpson has. Now, I know it's his teammate that fell down, but he's been keen to win this championship, so it really has given him quite an extensive lead at this point. Number 25 we're looking at there. There's number 2, Jim Moody, who's been straight into the 2nd spot.
5th place still David Jeffries from Shipley, and a good result for him now. Of course, that Borley's retirement has elevated Jeffries and everybody behind him 1 place up the table. Hislop is now well and truly behind David Jeffries and coming under some pressure from Chris Haldane, the other of the 2 New Zealanders. Race leader 25. Jim Moody is number 2 in 2nd. In 3rd place, it's number 6, Matt Llewellyn on the Ducati. Then it's Michael Rutter. But there's Jim Moody, 3rd place in the championship at the moment, runner-up last year, riding the Norton, so he knows all about the Norton power. And Matt Llewellyn on the Ducati is on a charge.
Yeah, Matt certainly is. He's been riding extremely well, and he's right there tucked in behind Jim Moody as they come out onto the main fastest straight of the circuit. They'll now go up through the gears right the way into 6th gear, reaching a speed of about 160 miles an hour at this point. Matt Llewellyn's trying to get in the slipstream of Jim Moody on the Yamaha. So here we are. Number 6 there, Matt Llewellyn, who is on the V-twin Ducati, chasing number 2, Jim Moody on the Yamaha. And they're coming round up towards the Dingledale section here, which is a very, very fast chicane section, which is taken with, looking here now, the bike goes very light as they crest the rise. They're using every bit of the track.
Matt Llewellyn then, 27 years of age, the number 6 Ducati rider in 3rd place, with a wealth of experience, having ridden Yamaha for a number of years, but since acquiring this Ducati, largely courtesy of Joe Meakin, who has financed him for the past 3 years, Llewellyn has really hit top form, and he is now right in the wheel tracks of the 2nd place man and 3rd in the championship, Jim Moody. Moody's fellow Scot, Ian Simpson, number 25, not pulling away. They're all closing down, and they're in 4th place, Michael Rutter, number 8. So you're looking at the race leader. The battle for 2nd place, you can see that Moody has put in a fastest lap. He's closing now on the race leader. There's Mike Rutter, number 8, ever watchful, just sitting there, knowing that he's on the pace. He qualified on the front row. He lived up to that qualifying place in leg 1 when he came home in 5th. He's now sitting in 4th, largely due to the fact that Phil Borley on the other extremely rapid Norton is not in the top 4. In fact, Borley has retired, as we pointed out to you. Simpson now coming under some pressure. Matt Llewellyn dropping back just a little bit into the clutches of the 4th place man. But Jim Moody has got the bit between his teeth, and he would desperately need a result. What do you think, Steve?
Most certainly, but this was the battle we saw in leg 1. Jim Moody was very, very close to Ian Simpson at that point, but it was then for 2nd place. Now we're looking for the battle for the lead. And there's a crash down. I think that's Michael Rutter. Michael Rutter, who was in 4th spot at the time, he's fell down. Luckily okay, but the machine is obviously in the sand trap there.
Well, that's bad news for Mike Rutter. We were saying just how consistent he was. Michael Rutter walking away very disappointed, looking as though he might have knocked his left leg as he came off. But of course that now elevates David Jeffries up into 4th place. and that's looking like a good result.
Yeah, and we're coming in through a third gear corner at this point. There's the leaders. Michael Rutter, there he goes. He's lost it before he got to the corner. I can only assume he just locked the machine up, either too much front brake, too much rear brake, and he lost it way before he even got to the corner.
Touch of over-exuberance put Michael Rutter in the sand trap, but his race is over then, certainly. But a good result in leg one. He won't go home totally dejected, but obviously a little disappointed. Meanwhile, Simpson now leading from number 2, Jim Moody. Matt Llewellyn really sensing that third place might be not just good enough, he might be able to grab second, and who knows, the way Matt Llewellyn's riding at the moment, even a win could be on the cards. Ian Simpson waving the Norton flag all on his own now that his teammate has left the scene, as it were, and these three now out clear from David Jeffries, who's running in 4th place, 5.5 seconds adrift. Chris Haldane, the number 12 New Zealander, is behind Jeffries, and Andy Stroud, fellow New Zealander, completing another good ride for Yamaha in 6th place. So Stroud drafted into the team halfway through the season, proving to be a good backstop.
Yeah, very much so. He's a very steady type of character, but he really can ride. And in the rain yesterday in qualifying, he was fastest out here at the Brands Hatch circuit. But number 25, Ian Simpson, I was expecting him to stretch this advantage, but Jim Moody is really, really pushing hard. And he's there in 2nd spot. Behind him, so we have Norton, Yamaha and Ducati. Here we are on bike at Druids Hill corner, the slowest corner on the circuit, 2nd gear, short shifting up into 3rd, snicking 4th as he comes down now through the left-hander Graham Hill bend, along what is known as Cooper Straight, but it's really just a fast left-hand bend accelerating up here as they come round now into the 3rd gear Surtees corner for the fastest section on this circuit.
Simpson then, as you can see, beautifully sunny day here at Brands Hatch on the 2.6 Grand Prix circuit, and don't go away for a cup of tea because this is a short, sharp dash. It's only 9 laps total. We have completed well over 6 laps and coming into the closing stages of this race, and there are back markers already ahead of Ian Simpson. I think Jim Moody could well try and produce something. He really will have to work very hard, but Simpson going round the outside and across the curve to get past the number 83 back marker, and that was Danny Daru of London.
That was a very brave move there from Ian Simpson. Obviously he needed to take that chance because he couldn't afford to be held up at the section there at all, but he really had to run extremely wide and was very lucky to control the machine. He could have easily just run wide on the curb.
5, 6, 7 machine lengths then separate Jim Moody, the number 2 Yamaha, from Ian Simpson, the race leader. Simpson, who came home in runner-up spot in leg 1, leading this one, the penultimate lap then of a very shortened race here at Brands, but Simpson with a Norton in front, Moody, and Matt Llewellyn is there. He's just there all the time. Llewellyn might try and produce something, but I don't know. The Norton is phenomenally quick. It might not just be possible.
Well, I don't think it is really, but there's certainly James Whittam's lap record of last year, which is nearly 1 second quicker than they've been doing here today. That's very safe for him, but it looks as though Ian Simpson here, number 25 now, he has about a ½ a second cushion over number 2 Jim Moody, and I think that's quite enough. He's on his penultimate lap, and he looks now to be stretching his advantage. This is a beautifully prepared machine. It's run by Brian Crichton, who's engineered the team as such, and Colin Seeley, who is the chassis builder from many years back, and they've really got this machine working extremely well. We're back on bike here. You see on the right-hand side, that's the temperature gauge. On the left is the rev counter, and as he's shifting here, he's coming through the Dingledale section. You'll see the revs go up as they blip the throttle to change down. The revs are dropping now, 3rd gear. You'll see the acceleration. The front wheel will possibly come light at this point into 4th, just snicking 5th gear as you brake now down into 4th for Clearways corner before you accelerate hard again. A bit of a negative camber at this point. Now picking up speed right the way up to about 140 miles an hour before we cross the start and finish line now.
1 lap remaining then. On his last lap, Ian Simpson from Dalbeattie with his nose firmly in front. The gap now over ½ a second from Jim Moody on the number 2 red, very, very distinctive Yamaha, who's closing. He put in a charge halfway through the race and got firmly on the rear end of the Norton ahead of him, but was unable to close to a passing position. And I think Jim Moody in 2nd place will have to accept now that Simpson is possibly uncatchable Ian Simpson now on the bottom part of the circuit, sweeping up, hurtling away down Simpson, Moody, and still Matt Llewellyn very much in touch. Away they go. Half a lap to do now for Simpson in the sunshine. Steve, a last quick word, another great display by Norton.
Yeah, it really is. This team has really come of age now. It was always said that the bike was fast, but it didn't handle, but now it looks as steady as anything out there on the circuit, and Ian Simpson is riding it so very, very well. And he's just able to cruise to the finish at this point. He has some back markers in front of him, but I don't honestly think they're going to affect him. He's only got this last clearways corner now before he'll see the start and finish line, and that's the end of the race.
Checkered flag being readied then for Ian Simpson. And across the line goes Simpson, despite the tail enders. Jim Moody, number 2, came home second. A brave and very, very well calculated ride by Matt Llewellyn. Simpson is jubilant. He's looking back because he's not quite sure where his teammate is, or indeed what happened to him. Phil Bawley sadly out of the race at half distance, but Ian Simpson took the win. Confirmation then of that second leg result. Indeed, Ian Simpson from Jim Moody, Matt Llewellyn, David Jeffers a good fourth, Chris Haldane and fellow New Zealander Andy Stroud completed the top 6. Standings after round 9 are looking very much like a Norton benefit. Ian Simpson out there, 2:52 still from Bawley, Moody closing, but they're in third, Llewellyn, Rutter and Andy Stroud, a very respectable ride for Yamaha.